Joining us on the KDON Live line is our tech news with Kevin Richards himself. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Alan. How are you?
Good morning, Kevin. I'm doing absolutely great. So many things going on. I don't know where to start. Let me start with this thing about MacBook Airs, AIRS. What is that?
MacBook Air. It's a very cool version of the Mac. It's very lightweight, very easy to carry around with you. Definitely something that you should consider. I know you like to travel, and still your travel always consists of a lot of work. It would be a good opportunity for you to carry that around. And it's the neat thing about it is Apple just released a new product. It is faster and less expensive than the previous model.
What's less expensive? How much would a MacBook Air run?
So they've got two options. They've got the 11-inch and they've got the 13-inch, and then they have different configurations, of course, based on the size of the hard drive. You would probably want the top-of-the-line version, which is the 13-inch, and it has 256 gigabytes of a hard drive, and the total out-the-door price, before tax, of course, is $11.99.
$11.99. All right. And how light is it, by the way? You said light. It's real light.
So it is less than 4 pounds. It is very, very light. It is very thin. It does not have a DVD drive on it or a CD drive. It is designed to, be connected to the internet, and that's where you're going to get your content and your information from.
Do you know if it has any ports so I could put a microphone into it or something like that and record onto it?
You actually don't even need that. It's got 2 microphones already on it that work with its FaceTime tool, and it's pretty high quality. It's a good tool, but it does also have support for the Apple iPhone headset, which does have the remote and microphone on it.
Wow. I'm going to go down and look at it today. You got me interested. I'm going to go absolutely look at it today. All right. Big news of the week, of course, out there also. I happen to know about net neutrality, except one thing. I don't know what net neutrality is.
Well, it's one of those things where sometimes the legislation doesn't necessarily indicate exactly what the law is designed to do. So the phrase net neutrality makes you think that the Internet's going to be free and fair for everyone. Everybody's going to have the same access to the speed of data. Everybody's not going to have to pay different amounts of money to maybe access a fast lane on the Internet. So that Federal Communications Commission is again reviewing this, and they've got a proposal that they're listening to on May 15th, and it's basically an opportunity to create an Internet fast lane. So companies like Netflix or Amazon could pay more than, say, your small publisher, say maybe 10, 15 years ago, a DrudgeReport.com could pay for, and they would have the ability to deliver their content to the end user much faster. And the big thing about that is, moving forward in the future, the Internet's going to be very video-driven. And if the rule is in place to allow certain big players to deliver their content faster because they're paying for it, you're not going to have the democracy that the Internet currently is.
Why is that?
Well, you're going to have people, like I said, like Netflix or maybe YouTube that can basically pay the Internet service providers, such as Cox or Time Warner, to deliver content much faster. And then when somebody's watching a video from maybe a smaller publisher, maybe a small company that wants, or a blogger that wants to get their message out, if the video is not able to load as quickly as you want, if it's really slow, people tend to leave. If your website is really slow and it's loading up and it's taking forever, people tend to just click the back button and move on to something else. So
are any of the folks balking about this? Or, I mean, they're getting big support from big companies, but what about the average guy and not so average guy?
Well, it's actually interesting. Google is very much opposed to the creation of any type of Internet fast lane. They want the Internet to be fair for all. So it's interesting to watch that play itself out.
How do you think it's going to play out in the end? What do you think?
Well, they've been talking about it for several years. They've attempted this numerous times, and every single time the Internet community rises up, and the senators and the representatives hear from people that we don't want this to happen, and it ends up never actually making its way all the way through. But it's one of those things where the people who want this, whether it's big business or whoever it is that's pushing it, they are just going to keep trying and trying, and it's really up to us to make sure that we protect the openness of the Internet so that everybody has a fair shot to get their word out.
All right. I want to talk about some other things too, because I know Google's changing its privacy policies relating to students. I want to find out what that's all about in a few moments, and I'm going to have to put this down here to check on this MacBook Air today, just to take a look at it. You got me excited about it. I'm talking with Kevin Richards. This is our Tech News with Kevin Richards, and I'm going to continue in just a moment. Right now, joining me on the KDON Live line is Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design, with our Tech News of the Week. Appreciate your being with us. Talk to me also about this, Kevin, about this Google changing a privacy policy as it relates to students. What impact is this going to have?
So Google has a tool called Google Apps for Education, and basically it helps to integrate email, calendar, Google Docs, things like that. And it's geared towards both teachers and students. And previously they had a toggle that would enable or disable ads, and it's actually as a result of Microsoft marketing and basically saying that Google is being evil, which is, of course, one of their key components that they don't want to be. They don't want to be evil over at Google. So basically Google said, you know what, we're going to remove the toggle. We're no longer going to display any advertising whatsoever when students are logged in through their Google Apps for Education. So basically they're taking all that email scanning out. They're not scanning the search results, and they're not going to be displaying any advertising whatsoever.
So this is a win for the students?
It's a win for the students. I think it's a better educational experience. It's more, Google was originally created as a research tool. So the search engine results, the natural, what's called the natural or organic rankings, are designed to be showing you the authority on a particular subject. So when you're doing the search, if you can get that content without all the banner ads and the text link ads that are surrounding that content to distract you, you're much better off.
Okay. Something else I want to talk about, because I've heard about this. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm concerned because a lot of us use Internet Explorer. There's a bug out there, I understand. Tell me what is a bug, and who's affected by this?
So it's called a zero-day vulnerability, and it's in Internet Explorer only, of course. I know you're a big fan of PCs, and Internet Explorer is a key component of PCs. And basically what happened here is they found a vulnerability that would allow the remote execution of some code that would allow that hacker to basically take over the computer. And once you've taken over the computer, you certainly have access to data that you shouldn't have access to. You can put in keystroke loggers. You can do pretty much anything that you want to do. So Microsoft was made aware of this problem. They released a patch. And what's actually interesting about this is, you remember we talked about Windows XP. They're no longer going to support that, right?
Right.
So they actually made a decision that, you know what, this is a big enough bug that we need to fix. We're going to roll it out back to our Windows XP users as well. So it's an example of Microsoft doing the right thing.
All right, but that's with Internet Explorer. See, I use Safari. I've got a Mac now, and I use Safari, and this problem doesn't exist for Macs or Safaris, does it?
It doesn't exist yet. Apple's done a good job of kind of controlling their environment, controlling the software, and it's also a matter of there's significantly number more of machines out there that are running PC and Microsoft products. So the opportunity to hack into those, especially older machines, is much greater. So that's why the attacks happen there as opposed to with Mac. And Mac, it's automatic. The updates are smooth and consistent, and it's much harder to break into software that's new because the hackers haven't had time to develop those exploits. Windows XP is 13 plus years old. They've had ample time to be finding what's wrong with it and find backdoors into it.
Well, also, Mac, I understand they change their codes and everything like all the time, on a regular basis.
They do. The new operating system comes out. It's cleaner, it's faster, it's different. Certainly they work with their developers to make sure that they understand what's in there. But that is a huge competitive advantage that Apple's team has.
All right, well, I'm going to go check out the MacBook Airs today. I am going to be down at a Mac store anyway, so I'm going to check out MacBook Air, and I'm going to check it out and see what I can find about it. It's got a full keyboard, by the way, doesn't it?
It does, and you'd be one of 4.1 million purchases if you were to buy one that have already happened during the first 3 months of 2014, and that's up 5% from the same period last year. That MacBook Air is a great product. I think you're really going to like it.
I got to get stock in that stuff. All right, so Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design, and by way of disclosure, of course, they designed my great page, allenstock.com. You want to find out more about Ventura Web Design, go to allenstock.com. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see the Ventura Web Design logo. Click onto that, and you'll find out more about Ventura Web Design and be able to get in contact with Kevin Richards. Kevin, thanks so much for being with me. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alan.
And I'll talk to you next week.